Hey, I'm Sarah Hodges, and this is Executives Uncut, the live podcast where we provide solutions to stop the corporate cycle of hell. Today, we're talking all about internships because I've had a lot of podcast guests who've asked me, "Hey, Sarah, your interns are awesome. How did you get them? Like, what are you doing to create this awesome internship program?" But I want you guys to hear it from my two interns, Emily and Justin. Come on in, guys.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey.
Hey.
So one thing that's fun is usually we have at least a few questions lined up to give us some sort of guidance of what we're going to be talking about. But today we decided to do it Hodges coaching internship style and wing it. But let's start with some like technical stuff. So how this all got started, right? I used a website called Handshake where you like create a profile for your company and you connect with other local universities, and you guys were connected, and I wrote an outline of what the internship could possibly look like and offered a monthly stipend, and I think Justin, you did it for credit in the summer, and then Emily did it for credit in the fall. But let's talk a little bit about when you guys saw that like advertisement and we had our first meetings. What worked really well for you?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I was just pretty much looking for something to do over quarantine because COVID had just gotten started, and all of my peers have like been either getting internships or getting their internships canceled because of COVID. So I was like, I should probably find something to do over the summer. And I was just looking online and I saw Hodges coaching internship. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'll just talk to her. So I think I connected with you on LinkedIn. I had literally just made my LinkedIn, and you were like probably one of my first like 20 connections.
Cool.
And I messaged you and I was like, hey, I saw your post on Handshake, and we talked, and I was just kind of like in it for the experience, and I knew were a small business, and it would be like kind of getting the the plane started like as it was taking off, as you usually say.
Yep.
So yeah, I just reached out to you and we talked a couple times, and I got the position, I guess.
Yeah, you were great. I want to hear from Emily though before I make comments. Emily, what was your experience like in those first moments?
I just remember like going on Handshake, kind of the same thing as Justin in the sense that I don't want to sit here all summer doing nothing. Like so many opportunities were canceled for other internships. And so I was like, I'm just going to give it a go on Handshake and see what I can find. And I applied to so many, sent my resume in to so many. And when you had emailed me, I was like shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, someone actually got back to me. And I was like, wait, what even is this? Like because you apply to so many, you don't remember what it's about.
Right.
And so we set up a meeting the next day, and I remember like coming off the call, and I went and I was like, Mom, I was like, even if I don't get the internship, that was the best interview I've ever had. I was like, Sarah and I just really hit it off. Like it was such good energy. Like, and it was just, I mean, interviewing in general is just good experience to like get comfortable with that. I was like, even if I don't get it, that was like a really good encounter.
Yeah, I totally felt the same. And I loved how I remember that you just asked me so many questions. You know, you just wanted to know everything about, you even wanted to know about my experience at your school when I used to go there. And Justin, I loved how you were able to laugh at stuff. Like even when you struggled with like scheduling some calendar events, you just kind of could laugh at yourself and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta learn about that. And so I feel like we started it off with this really great energy, and I'm glad that you guys felt that way too. And talking to any executives who are listening for tips here, I think that something to pay attention to when hiring interns or hiring really anybody is to pay more attention to the who than the what. Like, who is this person? What kind of energy are they bringing to the table? That is really even more important than the skills that they have. Because really, it's funny, you're like, what the heck is this? I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
Like, I need some help. You guys can help me with lots. I needed help with lots of things. And so there were many options of areas in which you could grow,
Yeah.
I remember too, in those first few weeks, I was like, holy crap, this is creating more work. And which is fine. I mean, because I didn't know what I was doing, and there was like a learning curve, right? Like there was things I had to educate you guys on. And honestly, that's still happening today as you guys take on new responsibilities that I have to take time to teach it, which is fine. But so let's talk about like that first month. What worked really well for you guys that you would want executives out there to know to do with other interns?
Yeah. I think it was pretty cool, but also like really scary, the fact that like I didn't really know like technically what the position was, and like during our first talk, or our first two talks, like you were like, there's like all these options, you can help me with this. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. Like I like I was like, I like these three things. I said like I like podcasts, and I like producing content and stuff like that. And I was asking about some other stuff, and I ended up doing like running the podcast, of course, and then like business development stuff on LinkedIn. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but at that point I was like, I just kind of want experience doing something. And the fact that she's letting me choose what I want to do is like very beneficial for me. And it puts me in a position where I can just do what I like and get good at it, I guess.
Yeah, I believe in operating from your strengths. So it was figuring out what they were, right?
Yeah.
Emily, go ahead. What about you? What was your first experience, like that first month?
Yeah, like I definitely agree with that too. I think it made it so much more fun and motivational to kind of pick from a series of things and then get creative with the tests. And I know like started out just working in Canva and trying to start up a newsletter. And I just really liked the creative outlet that I got from the jump. It wasn't like, here's my to-do list, get these things done within the next 24 hours and get back to me. There was just a lot of room to grow right off the bat, and so many different things to work on and be a part of, which was awesome.
I love that. And I think that it's important to say, again, to leaders out there who are listening to take on internships, that it's okay to give a list of deliverables. Like that's fine. But I don't think it's beneficial to the interns if that's the whole job. Right? Like nobody, that it's not a learning experience to spend your entire summer entering data. Like that is not going to help them grow. And really, if you're going to take on interns, then I think then you are also stepping into an educator role at that point, where you're giving them a lot of grace to learn and grow and make mistakes. And when they do make mistakes, we laugh at mistakes. And I make mistakes, all my mistakes. We laugh all the time at mistakes. I mean, we have a lot of really funny stories. What are some of your favorite mistake stories?
Probably me locking myself out of my room. Like,
oh my gosh, that was hysterical.
A pretty good podcast. It went on to be one of our best podcasts. But like Jonathan Moore, he came on, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. We got everything set up, and I was like, we're literally like 2 minutes away from rolling, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, come back, it's gonna be fine. Tell my roommates like I'm doing a podcast, like don't interrupt me. Shut my door behind me, and I locked it like when I was in my room so people don't come in, and I just forgot. And my keys were in my room, and it was a complete nightmare at this point. And I was like, I literally do not know what to do. Like they're gonna run in like 2 minutes. I don't know if they're gonna wait for me. So I panicked, and I literally ran to my leasing company, which was like 2 blocks down the street. It was like kind of raining as well. I ran down there, and I was like, I just got locked out of my room. Like, it's an emergency. Can I get a spare key? And she's like, yeah, here. And then it took like 1 minute. Got it. Came back, got in, and like you guys were about 5 or 6 minutes into the podcast. And
yeah. We finally
I came in, and I was just sitting here kind of like still shook, and then I don't know.
I was so relieved to see you because I wasn't sure what happened. I was like, did he have a crazy night and he's kissing the porcelain gods? You're in college, no judgment. Or I was like, did he have food poisoning and he's on the toilet? Because I knew you were going to the toilet. So I just kept it in my mind trying to figure out what was happening. on that toilet that was preventing you from being here. But yeah, we just laughed about it. You know, and I think that having a sense of humor about mistakes like that is really important, you know, for psychological safety and an organization in general, but especially interns who are there to learn, and part of learning is making mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
Emily, what about
one out of 30 podcasts isn't terrible, but I definitely won't be doing that again.
You might, and then we'll laugh about that
Maybe.
too. Emily, what about you? Any oops moments?
Probably the one that comes to mind is it was pretty like early on in the internship, and I was in my room up at school, and we were in a meeting, and my roommate went out to put the trash out, and like, just to give some perspective, we live in downtown Grand Rapids, so this, you know, there's character in the city, and she comes back after trying to take the trash out, and some like man approached her, and she was like really like shooken up about it, and then so she like busts my door wide open, is like trying to tell me like what happened to her, and I was like so scared to like be like unprofessional, so I just zoned in on my computer, and she was like staring at me, and I was like pretending like she wasn't there like whatsoever, because I didn't want to like be unprofessional or like, you know, have someone busting in my room, and then trying to like got the hint and just like shut the door. Like, I don't even know if you guys ever even like realized it, but
I don't think I ever heard that.
No, and I hope you know that by now you could have been like, "Excuse me, guys."
Yeah,
What is going
There's a
on
lady in my
here?
room.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that's important for again executives out there to hear, is that oftentimes your interns are they're learning what professionalism means.
Yeah.
And to help teach them really early on that professionalism is, you know, authentic. It's like authentic. How would I put it? Authentic courteousness, authentic courtesy, right? So they're allowed to be themselves. They're allowed to make mistakes, you know, but you do expect them to be courteous to others, courteous of time, courteous of situations. And of course, if there's something going on, as long as they're courteous about it, that's really the professional part, right? They can still be human beings. We should write that down as like professionalism, authentic courtesy. Someone write that down, please, and we'll put that on because I think it is, right?
Yeah. I think it's weird now because, I mean, everything is going online and virtual, and we just got this internship when everything was going virtual. So like, professionalism is, I think it has like a slightly different definition, because everybody's like seen in their homes and like seen in their room all the time. Like, you could literally be wearing pajamas like on your bottoms and nobody would notice the entire time. But like, you're on Zoom and everything, so I think it's just an interesting dynamic that we came in like during this time as well.
Yeah, it's so true. We learned a lot of things as we went, and I think that's like another, you know, thing to remind executives is like, allow it to evolve. You know, you have an idea of what you want, but also you have people coming in with their own strengths, their own tools, their own areas of interest. And if you let them, you know, develop those, it's going to also help them feel a lot more gratification from the internship, which makes me wonder, I want to know from you guys. So originally it was just going to be for the summer, and you guys decided to stay on, and now it's just open-ended. Hopefully you're here forever, and we just keep growing, because I love working with you guys. But what do you think, you know, in terms of advice for other executives, what do you think they need to do to cultivate the environment where interns want to stay on voluntarily, you know, and not just because they're getting credit for it?
I think the biggest thing that has really helped Justin and I is the open line of communication between, you know, us and you. You know, we talk about being authentic all the time, and like in our meetings, we spend some time just like catching up on life, which is super cool, because I feel like I know like both of you guys on a deeper level, and it's really made me like appreciate this internship and like this like relationship that we formed. And it makes me look into, you know, do stuff like this or meetings. And so I just think that cultivating a more personal relationship, you know, doesn't have to be, you know, oh, what'd you do on Saturday night? You know, you don't have to talk about that stuff. But if something funny comes up, you know, I think it's cool to share it. And I think we've gotten to know each other really well. And through that became like really comfortable with each other. You know, when you had asked me to continue through the school year, I was like, thank God, because I was thinking about like the internship ending and I was like legitimately sad. And yeah, so no, it's been a really good experience, but I just, you know, being open and honest, and I'll say it one more time, authentic. I think that really helps.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's something to be said that like we've never met each other in person, so, like like we have like a pretty good relationship, and um I think my piece of advice would probably be like know or understand why your intern is there, like why they want to be there, because
Mhm.
they could just be doing it to like do something over the summer or like just fill in time, and then there's other people that like know what they want to do and they're like getting specific field like experience like because they want to do this in the future. And then some other people, I would put myself in this category, but like they're just exploring their interests and like finding out what they want to do. And I feel like that's a lot of people too. um so understanding like if your intern just wants a to-do list for the day or the week, like they can do that and just get through the day, and then maybe talk about like I also encourage what Emily said, just get to know your interns. um but that being said, if they're the type of person to just sit down and do work all week and they don't want to be bothered until the next meeting, like that's fine. Like,
Justin,
just
are you giving me
understand
some hints here?
no, that's not me. I don't think that's me, but I know there are people. I room with
Mhm.
3 engineers, so I know there are people out there like that.
I room with 3 engineers. That says it all.
Yeah.
No, but it goes back to you know, knowing the who, not the what.
Right.
Paying attention to that. You know, who is this person? What drives them? What's going to make this internship valuable for them?
Mhm.
That's, you know, really important because it's also going to make. I think it helps them really want to show up for your organization. You know, and feel like they're part of a team and they're doing something cool as opposed to just getting a paycheck or just getting a credit or just inputting data. And again, if
Mhm.
they like inputting data, and then that's great too.
Yeah.
But not everybody does, or maybe that they only want that to be part of the job. So really understand.
Yeah. And what you said earlier, like the learning aspect, like interns are definitely there to learn, like what professionalism is, like
Mhm.
how to perform daily operations, like in an organization, like depending on what they want to do, they want to understand how to do it.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to our 3 tips. How do you guys feel about giving? Because you've given a lot of tips to executives. How do you guys feel about each of you giving tips to people who are looking to get an internship in terms of how to find a good one?
I have some good ones.
Go for it.
So I think my biggest tip, and this is something that I've struggled with in the past, is just never be afraid to fail or make a mistake, because it really hinders success and achievements, and it really holds you back. So I think just putting yourself out there and like, you know, getting on Handshake, getting on LinkedIn, and even if you never hear back from anyone, you know that you put yourself out there and you put forth the effort, and you know you can go to sleep that night knowing that you did that and you tried. But I think that, you know, making mistakes is part of life. It's a lesson to be learned. And I think, yeah, just never be afraid to fail. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to be perfect. I'm the type of person that I'm such a perfectionist, and I just had to like throw that out the window, because
Mhm.
that's like not a good way to go through life, because it really
Yeah.
messes with your mindset. But yeah, just for anyone out there that's looking for an internship or entering the job market or whatever it is, just never be afraid to be yourself and make a mistake. It's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
fail. It's
I
okay to do something wrong.
I completely agree. That would definitely be up there and like advice to give. I also think like getting to know the people that you work with and um kind of like networking, but also like just getting to know them on a personal level. So you have like an additional meaning to like show up every day. Like
Mhm.
if you get to know your coworkers better, like it just makes going to work, and especially internships, like sometimes you don't get paid for them, sometimes you do. It just depends on like what it is, where you are. But if you're not getting paid like anything, you're doing it for free. You should be like working on the experience that you have and like working on networking. And then also what Emily said is just try new things. Like if you do something that'll make you stand out, and it might like turn over and fail, but there's always a possibility of like it doing really well, and like somebody sees that in you, and I don't know, they hire you on, or they're like your go-to guy. Like it just like try new things, don't be afraid to fail, like Emily said, and then develop your personal relationships, I would say.
I love it. And it's so great for me to hear you guys say that, because that's the environment that I wanted to create. And ironically, that's our coaching challenge for today, is how to create that environment for your interns so they're not afraid to fail, or so they're not afraid to fail. And so the coaching challenge is, if you already have interns, or even if you're thinking of getting interns, how much grace are you giving them to learn and grow? Because if you're willing to give them grace to learn and grow, then they're not going to be afraid to fail. They're going to try new things. They're really going to show up for you and for themselves, and it'll be gratifying for everybody to watch your corporation, your organization grow, and these individual people grow as well. And if I guess I never gave a coaching tip. So in reverse, if I had a coaching tip for interns coming in, it's also to remember that your boss is fallible, and to give them grace as well, because that reciprocal relationship will really benefit you guys and help you grow closer together. And they'll then, it'll make it easier for them to extend the same kind of grace to you. So come in knowing that I'm working for a human being, not like an infallible. I think sometimes it's easy to think of like teachers or bosses or parents as having it all together, and we don't.
Yeah. I mean, I had another thought, like based off the coaching challenge. It's like if you're coming into an internship from the perspective of the intern, like you can understand like what type of boss you like what you can work for and what you should be looking for in the future. Like I think a lot of people will probably gravitate towards the forgiving one, the laughing one, like someone like Sarah who like coaches you. But like if you have a poor internship experience and you can try new things and try to learn, and your boss like I don't know, like shuns you for it, or like if you know what I'm trying to say, like you can tell if it's like an environment that you can't see yourself working for in the future, like that's just good experience to know about yourself.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us full circle too, from the perspective of the intern, when you're interviewing, as you're looking at your potential boss, to look at the who more than the what.
Right.
Who is this person? How are they showing up? What's their energy like? As opposed to what is the job description,
Yeah.
Cool. Anything left unsaid? I feel like there's so much left unsaid, but
probably,
probably. Yeah. But this
we
is
can
great.
do part 2 some down the line.
Yeah.
We should definitely do a part 2. Things we're still learning. And maybe that's the last thing I'll leave us off on, is that like we are still evolving and learning every day. We just added project management software that we're sorting out and getting a little more organized. And as we have grown, we've had to figure out new ways of operating, right? And improvements. And so like it's really cool to always think of yourself as just leveling up, continuing to evolve, whether it's with interns or without, whether it's within yourself or as a team. Having that continual leveling up mindset, I think, is a really healthy way to approach, a group like this, or an internship like this. Did that make sense there?
This is kind of like the feed forward thing we did a little bit ago. It's like an updated thing. Like it's never gonna. You're always gonna have stuff to share, and you're always gonna have stuff to learn. So it's like kind of just like a updated version of the feed forward that we did.
Yeah. And for anybody who's not familiar with that, feed forward is like, it's feedback, but it's all about what are you doing well? What do you want to do more of? Like, what am I doing well? How can I support you more? As opposed to here's all the things you suck at, which is honestly just doesn't help with with brain plasticity. Like it's just going to help you focus more on what you're doing badly as opposed to focusing on new things, new ways in which you want to wire your brain to do what's right. So it's a great way. If you're not familiar with Feed Forward, check out our YouTube channel, Hodges Coaching, and you can find, from back in the summer, real Feed Forward sessions that I did with Justin and Emily, and you can see kind of some of the questions I asked and how it worked with each of them. But I feel like that was a good. We should do another one of those.
That was probably like a month or two into the internship, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We're like, what are we like, 5 months ish, maybe?
I know.
4?
Yeah, at least
6.
by now.
8?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've lost track. It's like pandemic time, right? Like it's
4
just
years. I don't remember.
4 years. Awesome. Well, thanks you guys so much for joining us. And if anybody, no, I'm not even going to give you their information because people are going to try to steal you away from me. So, so thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of Executives Uncut. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure to subscribe and share with someone who could benefit. Follow us at Hodges Coaching for new episodes or at Hodges Coaching on social. And in all reality, Justin and Emily can be found on LinkedIn. So if you want to learn more, I don't want to feel like I'm holding you back from opportunities. So if you want to learn more about them, or if you want to ask them like for more specific guidance on how to have a great internship, I'm sure you guys would love to network and hear from other executives out there.
Of course.
All about it. So thank you guys again. I'm Sarah Hodges, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.